status 3?
I'm good, just making the world a better place, that's all.
Our bodies are given life in the midst of nothingness. Existing where there is nothing.
There's some sins that you commit that you can't come back from, no matter how hard you try. You just can't, it's like the devil is waiting for your body to quit because he knows in that he already owns your soul. And then I think maybe there's no devil. You die, and God, he says, nah, you can't come in. You have to leave now. You have to leave and go away, and you have to be alone. Of no LIVESTREAM.
Check it, listen. You're a real step up, and I'm a landmine. Leave your legs dangling, call it hang time. Shout out to all the soldiers who bang signs. Back in the day, I used to sling dimes. This is for the streets, hustling, pushing grams, and flipping bundles. Fuck the government borders, I'm digging tunnels. Delivering the package, cause I'm the real muscle. Wear a ski mask, sports emblems above my brim. Nothing but camo, I'll stomp you out in my Timbs. Take it a step further and start chopping limbs. One day I make it out of hell, something's gotta give. People ask how come the chaos doesn't break me. Because I'm solid, deeply rooted like sequoia trees. The top G, Chuck the God with the iron rod, making devils flee. Staying righteous is something that I can't guarantee. I appear out of nowhere and disappear in the spliff smoke. No one is safe, not even the Catholic Pope. You would own nothing to be happy, that must be a joke. Cause no one is laughing, the war will be invoked. You will be gasping for air like an asthmatic choke. Begging for life, live slump, looking like an addict on dope. Fucking rappers, fucking bombs. Peace of the gods. And I'm out, salute. Oh no. So as promised, I said I would spit a verse before every, so let's just get into it. I said, fuck the police, I don't answer questions. Always been the enemy ever since adolescence. Now people pay swine, hypocrisy's been intended. You think your vote counts, blindly spell casting. Lift the veil, Scooby-Doo unmasking. Tip the scale, cause you're off just a fraction. The peekaboo, I'll leave your beak broken. Shoot up your mouth and leave your teeth smoking. Put your carcass on a skewer with the flames open. Always remember, we all have a spot in the dirt. Jesus won't save you, neither your frail ass church, chanting your frail ass verse. Always wanting to pray, becoming another victim. The world's largest business, they be like salesman sick 'em. Hunting down the weak, preachers know how to pick 'em. Laying down the laws with their false ass wisdom. Fuck mistletoe rappers singing Christmas carols. I spit monkey bars, split heads with Donkey Kong barrels. Smith & Wesson slugs rip apart your apparel. You're a dickhead shooting blanks, your whole style is sterile. You fucked up, 8-ball in the side pocket, plucking eyeballs out the right socket. You're full of shit like NASA CGI rockets. The system's rigged, we are all on an arraignment docket. Corruption, once you're in motion you can't stop it. I only care about history if the presidents are dead. Lining my bank account, don't dwell in the past, move ahead. Being stuck in the rear view can fuck up your future's bread. I speak from experience, is where I obtain most of my wisdom. Always stay cautious before uploading programs to your system. Your eyes are a vortex pulling light through two prisms. A warrior wandering through this political system. All have the same approach. They're all rooted isms. I uproot family trees using a method called schism. The root to the problem starts with the seed. botany modifications, pesticides, and many things. The body's biology is healed by chlorophyll's green. Be careful with vegetables, don't want to oversteam. You must milk the cow, cash rules everything around me. And I got more, but I'm not going to keep going. The inertia, the law of inertia. I was reading this shit yesterday, man. Huh. I think it's another theory, pretty much. So what the F is everybody doing today? So I've decided to work for YouTube, everyone. I gotta erase all my videos. I gotta erase all my videos that have copyrights, all my live streams, all my videos. I'm just gonna erase everything. And there's so many words that you have to censor yourself from. But I'm gonna give it all up for YouTube, man. Psych! Oh. Peace, Marcel. I should have waited till more people got here to say my rhyme, but it's at the beginning, I'm pretty sure. And people ask me, why did I take yesterday's stream down? Because I was saying some things that I'm not sure. I'm getting a peace, maggot. I wasn't sure, you know, but I'm gonna release it today. Fuck it. If they hit me, they hit me. I don't even care. Thanks, Marcel. My rhymes, please tell me. I can handle the truth. I already expect not everyone's gonna like them. I'm working on something new. I said, why you speak division? We are all slaves. Churches sell you dreams saying God saves. To the 1% at the tip of the pyramid, we are all prey. You better open up those eyes. Harp's frequencies opening up the skies. Psychological war got most people to comply. Thinking they speak truth, you just regurgitating lies. It all comes back around, the cycle of repetition. Took shackles off hands and feet and put minds in prison. Giving up before you try to go the distance. People looking at me like I'm a fraud, because they can't understand that Chuck's a god. Smoking a fresh bag of angel dust and it's on. I got so many rhymes I've been writing lately, but I've been working on my cadence. Because I think people are sleeping on me. They have no idea that I will slice them up like a guillotine. When they see my full potential on this next song I'm going to put out, people are going to be blindsided because they don't, you know, I listen to myself on these so-called tracks and I have no ambition, it seems. I like the rhyme I said yesterday. I might say that again too. I'm going to put that. Hurricane JW said, cut it up and put it in the song. I'm gonna. You know what's crazy? When I first get up in the morning, that's when my mind is the most, like, I'm not even fully awake, but I'm just, I don't know, man. My mind is just connected. Maybe it's because I'm still connected to the ether from sleep. and I'm not fully back into the realm. So, I don't know. Spores of mushrooms, yeah. I was talking about that in my rhyme yesterday. Out of here. Where's that part I said about the show? Oh, right here. I said, they say zero has no value. I said, indoctrination. They say zero has no value. Zero is the cosmic womb, the cosmic egg, the cosmic tomb. The Mario Brothers, red and white spotted shrooms. Mortal Kombat uppercut your consciousness to another room. Even Pac-Man tried to tell you what happens after you consume. Lift the veil from the eyes every once in a blue moon. Even Pac-Man. I said, yeah. Even Pac-Man, when he's eating those little things. Um, so many video games that show. You know, I didn't realize all the symbolism in Mario Brothers till long years later. Oh, I didn't even drop the Stinky Linky. I said, fuck the police, I don't answer questions. Always been the enemy ever since adolescence. Now people pay swine, hypocrisy's been intended. You think your vote counts, blindly spell casting. Lifting the veil, Scooby-Doo unmasking. Tip the scale, you're off just a fraction. The peek-a-boo, I'll leave your beak broken. Shoot up your mouth and leave your teeth smoking. Put your carcass on the skewer with the flames open. Always remember, we all have a spot in the dirt. Jesus won't save you, neither your frail ass church. Chanting your frail ass verse. Always wanting to pray, becoming another victim. The world's largest business, salesman sick 'em. Hunting down the weak, preachers know how to pick 'em. Laying down the laws with the false ass wisdom. Fuck mistletoe rappers singing Christmas carols. I spit monkey bars, split heads with Donkey Kong barrels. Smith and Wesson slugs, rip apart your apparel. You're a dickhead shooting blanks, your whole style is sterile. Boy! The Load Runner. Or is it the Road Runner? I'm gonna get a Sega Genesis, man. I remember when I used to play Toe Jam and Earl. That shit was dope. That was gonna be my first rhyming name, was Toe Jam. MC Toe Jam. This sucks, man. I can't share my screen. I'm fucking pissed off. I'm gonna see what I can do about cable. Word on the street is they got $10 cable every month, and if I'll just get it because I just want a signal. I'm gonna look into that because it would be nice to be able to share my screen, talk, and everything without my voice roboting out and all that stuff. Not that anyone gives two flying fuckarooskies, but who knows about the abandoned Louisiana Six Flags? There's one in Japan too. Shit looks bugged out. This is the White City. This one is there's white cities all over the I forgot where this one was. This might be the New Orleans one before it got shut down, but this is it now today. Even if you go on Google Earth, oops, what the fuck, man? I'm trying to erase this stuff. Don't that look bugged out? Man. All that scrap metal. There you go. I think that's the Superman ride. This one. This is the Chicago White City. Now, I think a majority of these buildings were already here, like the one that has the light. That building was there. A lot of these buildings are already here, and then yeah, they maybe have built other buildings to go with it. But still, if all this caught on fire, how is it burning the brick buildings to fall? It don't even make sense. And this is another picture of the abandoned amusement park, Six Flags in New Orleans. Worcester, Massachusetts. This was a white city thing. They had like, you know, postmail card or whatever you call them. A lot of these parks are closed, but just like they don't talk about all these parks. I mean, it should only be called a white city if it looks like the one in Chicago, um, or the big World Fairs. Like a lot of these parks are like this one is small as hell, and there's no big buildings in it. So like this one, this was in shit. I think this is the Rochester, New York, or Worcester, whatever. Like this is the Chicago. So yeah, this is the Chicago right here at night. This is Coney Island, New York City, which is also Luna Park. It has many names to it. Like, even this thing, you know, when I'm looking at the picture and I'm looking at the people next to this, like, even this archway, they could have added a bunch of stuff to it. It even looks like it has a blimp coming out of there with angel wings or something. Um, and then War of the Worlds, interesting. Like, even this entrance just looks like it was already there. And Chicago, I think, like, I was watching some video on Tesla's electricity, and you know, they were saying a lot of things about Tesla that I didn't like. Even though he could be fake, that's a strong possibility. Peacefuls and Tools, Maggot, Marcel, Christos. I mean, why wouldn't you use? I'm gonna get into the inertia plane law in a minute. I'm just waiting to see if any more people come in here. If not, um, I think, you know, we'll use these two characters, Tesla and Edison, right? I think it was Edison. Yeah, his because he supposedly went to Edison with this patent or design, and Edison, I guess, pooped on him. So he went to, I forgot the guy's name. Even though they're saying Edison's was better. Um, yeah, it's better to control. Now, Tesla's so-called technology, to me, is safer and better. But these people are all about the guacamole, the money. We all know that. I mean, look at this Ferris wheel. I wonder how far you could see from the top of that bad boy. Such a scene right here. You know, talking about pictures, it does kind of drive me nuts. No disrespect, and I ain't targeting anyone when I say this, but people can't tell the difference between a real picture and AI generated. Come on now. everything to avoid was generated by AI yesterday. Come on, Dookie. I mean, look at this architecture to the side, on the left or right. I mean, it's just amazing. Built to last. Look at the streets. Now, I kept this picture because look at the doorway on the right. I mean, the left. That doorway. And look at the little guy. Like, slide him over to that door. There's a lot of people out there that say, instead of people accepting it as a possibility, they just throw a bunch of excuses at it. Oh, they had big doors because they had to bring in something tall and those are good excuses, man. I'm not even gonna lie. We are 100 years and more behind in technology, and these children and us with mental health issues is not really, we're actually haven't got the resources to keep up with it because I keep fucking with us. They are keeping their technology from us for themselves and their family and their benefit. Yeah, not for a second, I don't think scientists haven't created ways to slow down aging. And like even Tesla's technology, he said he used to sit within the electricity and it would elevate his mind state. He felt healthy. He felt, and yet I've read stuff where it says it declined his health. Of course it's gonna. Of course they're gonna say it's gonna because they don't want people. They make large amounts of money keeping people's health docile. But I want one of those Tesla coils. I want to create one, and I want to just play with the electricity and see. Because Tesla said it elevated his mind state, and he was connecting. It's very interesting when you start thinking about the electricity, this electric energy, this source, this power, whatever you. I don't know if people ever thought, where do your thoughts come from? Because I personally don't think all your thoughts are created by you. They've got curbs so they would have fall for water. Huh? Come on, faceplant. You better have a good connection today. I heard something. And that door is like 3 times the size of that guy. I almost erased this picture. And then I was like carefully looking at it. And I said, look at that door, man. What's up, faceplant? Faceplant.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look at this. I don't know where this building is. Paris? I think.
Finally, spring.
Ah, you're breaking up. We're borging out. Faceplant.
Yeah, we have some buildings and old buildings in town here. I think they were built for like 9-footers because all the doors, they got the big door and then they got a smaller door built into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I know how they do that. It's funny. They try to hide the big door. It reminds me of a
Yeah,
human's doggy door, right?
yeah, yeah.
Like,
There's no. They're not hiding it, but they can't hide it because it's the arch. The arch is part of the structure of the building. But I got my fixed, so now I can go try look.
you're borging out. Let me see if I could fix faceplants. Now try to speak. No. Man, you gotta get a better signal. I want to invent something that could, create a good signal. Like they have stuff, but I don't know how. Like, let's say you're hiking, boom, and you break a leg, and you're stuck because your dumbass went hiking by yourself, and you're deep in the woods, miles from anything, and you have no phone signal. You're gonna be wishing you had the phone that they use to talk to people on the moon. You know?
That's a little suspicious, don't you think? I guess phones were better in '69.
I mean, look at this street. I mean, just look at as far as the eye can see to the horizon. Uh, just beautiful architecture. Look at this
See,
building here.
that's when the asshole started to take over. You see the awnings? That's the fucking asshole that took over that put all those stupid awnings on there.
Yeah. Yeah, they weren't. I like that archway. That's a porch. Now, if people, were taller, just by that archway, that porch is huge. This is a painting of Paris in the 17 or 1600s. I mean, look at all the towers and beautiful architecture. Um, this is Paris. Yeah, I had to make sure because I knew I wrote it down. And I have a lot of architecture coming up. You guys ain't even gonna believe where some of this stuff's from.
The breweries and distilleries were established after they started to clean up shit and get it ready for the new paradigm. The breweries and distilleries, that's a clue of when things started to get rolling again.
Yeah, these powers that be suck. This is Brooklyn Bridge, I think, but this is a better picture. Imagine living right next to this bridge. It almost looks like that train came out of the water. But why would you have a train track go into the harbor or into the mouth of the river? See how the train track? I gotta zoom in on this picture
Yeah, the
somehow.
land is
That's crazy.
the land is sunk.
But yeah, but why wouldn't they stop the train way before? Like the train will go right off the track into the water. It's like right there at the edge. Maybe they unload stuff from there. I don't know. But that's odd. Maybe it goes under the water. Maybe it's a
It's
submarine
not
slash train.
is it a photograph or a drawing?
No, it's a photograph.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. It could be Photoshop just to fuck with us.
I'll have to look into that and see how real that is. It's just crazy when you look at these pictures. Everybody got top hats on. Everybody's got a suit and tie on. Like, dude, talk about a prison society. Um, no creativity. Just everyone's got top hats and black suits. The same top hat at that. Look at that building in the background. What
Well,
beauty.
that's their level of that's to indicate their level in the hierarchy. They're just they're really slaves themselves, the inheritors. They're like the house niggers, if you want to call them that.
Oh. What building is this? Shit. Should have written it down. Could have. Nah. Look at this beauty.
Yeah, it looks like the top of a bigger building, that the rest of the building is way underground.
Maybe. This is another picture of that church. Because I was so astonished by the pillars on this thing. Almost like a copper coil looks like that. They got copper coils and computers that look like that. I have a bunch of little ones. This tower is just intriguing. You
Some of
know it was
those,
creating energy.
it looks like they were made by using sound. Like some of those things with all the elaborate things sticking out of them on the stairs, it doesn't look to me like that a human hands could do that even. It's like some kind of sound was used to make it.
I just thought this was cool the way it was set up.
I got my car fixed, Chuck.
That's good.
costs about as much as I thought it would. Catalytic converter, just the part is like $1,600 just for the part.
And the people be stealing them because they want that little bit of dirty ass platinum that's in there, and gold and silver, I think. I don't know. Look at this building. This is a beauty. Now let me pull up my pictures so I mark down where these places.
Yeah, there's a rash of catalytic converter thefts here, but it stopped because the scrap dealers have to have some kind of a certification that it's yours, taken off of your car. You can't just bring one in and get money for it now. So I got the old one. I'm gonna take it to the wrecker and get some money for it.
All right, so this building is in Paris in 1855. The Bison Frères Ancien Hotel de Ville. That's the name of this place. And let me see something. Oh, what the hell is the name of this church? Of course there's no name. Why should there be a fucking name? Alright, that church I showed just before this picture was also in Paris. And this right here is in Kazakhstan. Yesterday I called it Kakistan just to be stupid. Well, you can see the two pillars.
There's guys from Kazakh are trying to pretend that they're from Germany. I said, you're not German. I can tell by your accent you're not German.
You're not German, Herman.
I don't know why they would try to say they're from Germany. I guess they spent time in Germany. My cousin was born in Germany.
This is built in Africa.
I don't even think Germany was even a country before the 1800s.
Germans are from Africa.
Like,
I'll prove it.
You look at the map of Europe.
I found an old map of Africa, and there was a German city in Africa.
Yeah, and there are people and really dark people in Africa say they came from Ireland. They're dark people that came from Ireland and moved to Africa.
Well, you'll never guess where this is.
No windows. They haven't replaced the windows.
You're borging out. Wow,
Where is it?
fur treated with mercury. Isn't that fucked over?
You remember Mercure Chrome?
Uh-uh.
It's like uh,
Yeah, you're borging out, faceplant. Bad. You gotta, like, figure out a way.
like
We can't even understand you, man.
Mercury.
Faceplant! We can't hear anything you're saying. We can't hear you. You're borging out too much. It's like, I am in the door and then what the fuck? God damn it. This is in California, I think. Look how high these windows are. Definitely a tall person. Now, we're gonna get into look at this architecture. Supreme, beautiful architecture. I watched a video by John Levi yesterday. He was talking about those kilns. Yeah, I don't mind if you're up here, faceplant. It would have been dope if you weren't wigging out and shit, your voice. Try to fix your signal, faceplant. Come back up. You didn't have to leave. I don't know where this is. Maiponga! But I found some buildings here. Uh, the architecture in some of these buildings. Now, guess where this building is, everyone. I'll give you 10 minutes to sit back and take it in. And let me know where you think this building's from. Come on. Don't be shy. Everyone don't answer at the same time now. No one? No one wants to take a guess where this architecture or this building is. Interesting. Nobody. Nobody has a idea or come on. Don't answer all at once. I'm not saying nothing until someone takes a guess. Damn, nobody? Main Street. Nobody knows what country this is in. Me neither. I don't know. I was asking you guys. Hold on. I'm packing a bowl of this funk. By the time I'm done, someone has to have an answer. That's it. Main Street. Man, guys, what the fuck's going on today? Disappointed. Paris, close, but not that close. Nope, not Australia. This is like a place. I'll give you a hint. China used to own it. This place had a contract with Europe, and recently China tried to take it back. Fuck it. It's Hong Kong. Hong fucking Kong. Excuse me. Now, I'll give you a few minutes to think about this one. Can you name the country? Oh, no, this is Australia. Melbourne? Beauty. It's a fucking beauty, this picture. This one's also Australia. Ah, man, it's just even that part where the dome is, it reminds me of the dome of our realm could be built like that. Just as well as the domes that mimic. I think these domes like this mimic our realm. The same way those on a smaller level generate energy, I think we live in the same thing. We live in some sort of generating machine. It could be biological and mechanical. Like, this is a beauty. Now, this monstrosity, where this is, It also looks like it was abandoned for a while. I'll give you about 5 minutes to guess where this bad boy is. This one. Yeah, a lot of them are government buildings, city halls, right? State capitals, libraries, banks, like real government controlled shit, man. Um, you don't see people ever buying these things, right? Like people on our level. Um, and even if you had money to buy them, they ain't gonna let you for the most part, unless you're tearing it down. Is anyone home? Oh yeah, where is this picture from? I'll give somebody $50 if they can guess. No, I'm joking. I don't got $50. It's an island, I'll tell you that much. Nope, it's on an island. Nope, not Italy. Nope, not Sicily. It's Rio de Janeiro. Rio de Janeiro. I would never have thought Rio de Janeiro had beautiful architecture. Jails, asylums, yup, those two. This is a beauty right here, though. Beauty. Rio de Janeiro, my friends. Rio de Janeiro. And this picture is the same thing, but on an angle. I mean, look at the street lamps. I mean, just everything is so. Look at the sidewalks. You can see they had like mosaic designs in them. I mean, just everything was built to last, and people put their heart and soul into it. You can tell people's mind state were much more elevated. They were much more had inner peace. They weren't stressed out to where they had gray hairs at 25, 30 years old. They didn't have to worry about paying their electric bill or their gas bill or their land tax or the house tax. Um, when you fart, you got to pay a tax. All these things, the government is supposed to work for the people, but that's a joke. Um, they're like fucking mafioso leeches that just stick to you, suck you dry of all your money and hard-earned work. They tax you on everything, but it's not going to end until we say enough is enough, and we call their bluff. Look what they did to this building, man. It went from a nice titty with a big nipple to a fucking, I don't know what that is. It looks like one of those things you put on your thumb. Yeah, they fucked this building up. 1930. Is that what it says? Sun Atlantic Hotel. Hold on, let me take this banner off. Boop. This might be Philadelphia. No. Guess where this is? Let me take a break, sit back, puff some herb, and let you guys think on where you think this is. It's a country you would never think they would even have any of this architecture. Bald head? It did look like a bald head. That shit had white supremacy written all over it, that architecture. They gave it a bald head and everything. They said, we're going to turn this architecture into white supremacy. No, not Brazil or Argentina. Wrong continent. Flip that continent the other way. Nope. Nope. Not India. Close. It's this. If you took South America and flipped the continent the other way, what do you get? No, you're close. Not Pakistan. Durban, Africa. Picture on the bottom is, I think, like 1889 or some shit. Maybe earlier. But yeah, Durban, Africa. Like, you could find, if you really think about it, every state has a capital of one of these type architecture. You know, all the train stations, like even, you know, we talk about WW2 and WW1, and I don't mean worldwide wrestling. But what about the Middle East one? And you know, I've seen videos on buildings they gunned these buildings down. Um, Imagine getting hit with a 50 cal bullet. You know, them big guns they have on the back of a truck. Jeez, man, that that would be devastating. Um, if I came upon a truck that had one of them and they were firing at me, I'm trying to dig into the ground like a worm. But yeah, Africa, I've looked in Africa before. All I found was stuff like this. And even though this architecture is just as supreme to me, I mean, they're using mud instead of bricks and stuff. Well, bricks are mud. Some stone could be um, fossilized flesh. This last building, I'll give you a minute. Peace, Candy. This is also Durban, Africa. Yep, Durban, Africa. Like I even want to you know, like Egypt and the places they, I don't know. I'm trying to dig deeper into Africa and kind of stay away from Northern Africa. I'm trying to, because people were like, you know, they're always showing like America or Europe. People should look into Asia. You'd be surprised. They're even over there. I was looking at Vibes of Cosmos, the map he has, and Connecticut. If you left Connecticut on that map, if I'd went to the shore, got on a boat, and just went straight, you'd go directly to a whole nother continent. Let me see if I can pull up that map. I have to go download it. This is a beautiful building too, man. Durban, Africa. This picture. Let me see. I know this picture is like 1875 or no, probably no. By the way the guy's dressed. But anyway, look at this beauty, man. It's a fucking masterpiece. These people were just on a whole nother level, for sure. When I look at this, I'm just in awe. My bad, I'm just staring at this. The architecture is just, I wish I could zoom in. Rio de Janeiro, man. Durban, Africa. I forgot where I said this one is. Law courts. This was in, shit, Paris? I don't remember. I don't know where this is, but this. I mean, look at the archway. That's, you can't see it, but it's in the left hand corner. A huge archway. Just looking at these pictures gives me energy. Straight up. Yeah, it puts you in a good mood compared to living in an environment, right? Let's say you live in the projects in New York City. Then you've been to prison. The project buildings in New York remind me of like those in your computer, you know, and all the people living in or the memory that's being stored into that building, right? The building represents a chip on the motherboard, and the people living in it is like all the memory being stored in the chip. Think about that one. Um, and and we also act as energy too, not just memory, but memory is energy. Haha, candy, that's fucked up. Yeah, that might be true in ways. Um, yeah, you might be right on that. Or they get a big truck or something. Yeah, that is true. Where do you ever see female architects? I could be wrong. There's probably a few sprinkled here and there, but it is mostly a matriarch. See, the patriarch, I mean the matriarch, their architecture is like raising the child and sculpturing their child like with I don't know. I was trying to think how I wanted to put that, but she's an architect in a different way. The female energy. I don't know. I'm gonna make a video. of all the good pictures that are like architecture. Monopoly. Like, I remember learning about the budget of the country. It's all full of shit, these budgets. Probably be a quick live stream today. Where did this picture come from? I don't know. This, see, this is what bugs me out. So I remember I had an old phone. This ever happened to anyone? And my phone would always have like pictures, weird pictures. Like like the phone was taking pictures on its own, and they would be in my picture folder. And I'd be like, I didn't take these pictures. How the fuck? It would be like crazy stuff. It would be like I'm walking down the street and I was probably talking on the phone and it snapped a picture. But this is a screenshot from, I don't know, weird stuff. Where did that come from? Who are you? Like, there's so many buildings and architecture. I have to make a video and put all these good pictures in one. Like, this is architecture. The shit they throw up today, it's my opinion. And I'm not saying everything that's built today is trash, but it don't compare to these buildings. Shit, I don't even think a hurricane could knock this building down. That's the type of society we live in, man. You know the three pig story, but or the three pigs analogy, but they'll knock down a fucking beautiful brick house or brick building, and then they'll put up some fucking garbage. Like, they're even framing buildings with aluminum, this thin aluminum to frame the walls and stuff with, not wood. Which I guess could be, it could be beneficial in ways, but it's cheap. They do that in industrial buildings a lot. Maybe because damn, it makes me think about the Twin Towers, man. Where would all that material just turn to dust unless the building was empty? Makes me think about that picture I showed of the tuning forks that were in New York City. When the sun was coming up, you could see through the buildings. That makes me think. Like, I'm trying to understand how, I forgot how many floors were in each tuning fork, but that's a lot of desks right? Let's say every floor was packed with offices, chairs, like all the material and the vents and just everything, man. It's a lot of stuff. Dust. Funniest shit. I remember when they said, I've said this before though, but they found their ID. Now, it would make sense how the plastic ID survived if it was a direct energy weapon. You know, that kind of would make sense. Kimba, Boston Ray Mud Flood Adventures. What's up, bro? I got you, Boston Ray. Hold on. Now, I was watching your video the other day, Boston Ray Mud Flood. What the? What the? I mean, this architecture is off the hook. And what really intrigues me is this architecture for the Brooklyn Bridge. And they tried to say they built this bridge. Now, I don't know about that. I could be wrong, but this is some architecture. I mean, just look at it. It's built to last. All these buildings I just showed. Like, what can top this stuff? Find me a building, name one from today, that could top this type of architecture. I think this is the same building. Yeah, because this right here is from the side view. Yeah, it's the same building, my bad. Rio de Janeiro, even. Like, how do you get. Like, these buildings could have been built before this flood, however, the flood happened. You know, these buildings. Because these would be like the only thing that would last, that could withstand, you know, the water and stuff like that. But these could have been the buildings, like, that could have been Enoch's house right here. Lot to think about. Look at that guy in the bottom left-hand corner running. Hey, take a picture of me. Guy looks funny. Looks like he's morphing. I mean, who do you think? But I could see this being a train station, even in the old world. You know, I got to stop looking at the ancestors like even they might not even be our ancestors. These people might not even be of the same genetics. I'm not saying they're aliens or nothing like that, but they could just have different genetics, been taller. I love this building in Connecticut. This is the Capitol in Hartford. The good old Capitol. But it has this water fountain that would be like if you were walking towards the left side of the picture, you go down the hill and there's this big water thing. It shoots water up, this water fountain, and it has giant Indian statues going all around it. Um, then just the entrance to this place. Um, you drive through a castle entrance. I've showed pictures of that thing, and yeah, these people are definitely 12 to 14 feet tall, and their 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 consciousness was on a whole other level. Like just to speak to one of them giants, like I can't imagine the conversations, um, the knowledge they must have obtained. That's why you see some pictures with people with giant books. I think a lot of the technology came from them. They were the teachers of the technology, not some little green, big bug-eyed alien. The Jolly Green Giant. Ho ho ho, Green Giant. Like even Jack and the Beanstalk. I think that's from a real story. And these giants might return one day because they're living in outer lands. And if this is an infinite plane with other different lands, I guess. I was gonna say experiment domes everywhere, but you know, They'll be back, and then they'll use that as fuel for the Bible and be like, their usual tactics. I don't know how real this picture is, but it's interesting because it kind of looks like the tower of a building, or it could have been just that, but I don't know. I know this is real. You got a UFO with plane landing gear, right? It's simple. It's simple. It's just like an airplane, but man, oh yeah, I was supposed. Um, I forgot the guy's name. Vibes of Cosmos. Okay, vibes of. All right, I got one of them. I forgot I was zoning out, man. Some good herb. Herb man, herb man. Alright. Vibes of Cosmos is a brilliant man. Very aligned with himself. And I just want to know what created him to look up and be like, I know what the moon is. Excuse me. Oh, no. What's this? Get the fuck out of here. Alright. I know it's hard to see, but you see Africa, that seemed correct to me. If you see Africa and you go straight up and over, Connecticut would be right there. And if you went straight, right out on the boat, you would end up on the ice wall in these other lands. I want to see if he still has digital books for sale. Vibes of Cosmos. And I know this place is some sort of a technological garden. This place used to look like in the movie Avatar. Just think if they create all these sun simulators, they could be bringing them like to all this outer lands over here and thawing it out and shit. Who knows? Just like the ice caps. Like I remember seeing videos. All makes sense to me now. Others saying the ice caps are breaking off and this and that. I think they were testing their DEW, their Mountain Dew weaponry up there. You know, just shooting lasers at the ice caps, just cutting them, and then say, "Oh," because I'm gonna see if I can find the videos where they were showing these square cut pieces of ice like breaking off. And I thought to myself, are these breaking off so perfectly square? But yeah, I'm gonna get the evidence. Now look at how he has the continents on the moon. I mean, that's one big ocean. I'll tell you that. If you were to leave Connecticut, you go straight out, you'd be there for years. You'd probably hit land because there's land all on the other outside too. You know, I wonder how people would react. Like they could probably come out and tell people, you know, like they are now. You know, they were like, just let it out. Just show them maps or whatever, right? And people are so enslaved and systemized that people still probably wouldn't leave. They're too comfortable being enslaved. They wouldn't want to leave. It's almost like when you put a lion in a cage or a prisoner in a prison cell. After a while, you could open that door and they won't even leave. It's crazy. Look at this picture I found. What do you think about this? No, it's not AI. I thought that at first too, because everyone says everything's AI nowadays. Actually, I think you guys could be right. But the way they line the dirt up, if that's the case, because I thought second when I seen that little boat, I'm like, damn, that's a huge airplane. You see the little boat in the bottom left hand corner, that's what kind of made me think. I looked down and I seen Candy said definitely AI. And when I looked up, I was gonna disagree with her. And when I looked up, I seen a little boat in the corner. And I was like, oh, maybe. It could be. It could be that plane could have really been in the ice, right? It could have been a smaller picture, and then they blew the picture up and posted it on a picture of a boat in the yeah. Yeah, but the pictures I show, all these buildings are real. Like, so, because people have said that when I was showing pictures, like I could tell AI generated and not. All the AI generated look like advanced cartoons to me. Now, Because I know they've taken the same building. I found pictures where they would use the same building and then they would cut it out. It's like Photoshop. But I want people to find me an AI generated picture that has real people um that look like real people and real cars and stuff like that. Now, I don't think this picture is AI generated. I think it's more or less Photoshop. Well, I'm gonna try this AI generating thing one day. I want to see like sometimes I think like when it comes to history, I love the saying that uh it's by Jelly Roll when he got his award. He said some wisdom, and he said the windshield is bigger than the rear view because what's behind you isn't as important as isn't as important as what's ahead of you. And that always stuck with me in his speech. Out of the whole speech, I didn't care about nothing else but that what he said because it's so true. I would love to ask Jelly Roll how he put that together. You know, what made him use the windshield and the rear view. Like, that's a brilliant way to put something. Right? I never even went into the inertia, the law of inertia plane. Damn it. I'm falling off. I'll get into it a little bit. I got. Alright, let's do this. Do 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 do. Alright, physics, blah 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 blah. No, I'm joking. The law of inertia. There was something. So, this is written by Julio Gay Banacloche. If anyone could read this guy's name, let me see if I could post it. This is the guy who wrote the article. There is something funny about motion with constant velocity. It is indistinguishable from rest. Of course, you can usually tell whether you are moving relative to something else. But if you are enjoying a smooth airplane ride without looking out the window, you have no idea how fast you are moving, or even, indeed, if the flight is exceptionally smooth, whether you are moving at all. I am actually writing this on an airplane. The flight screen informs me that I am moving at 480 miles per hour relative to the ground, but I do not feel anything like that. Just a gentle rocking up and down and sideways that gives me no clue as to what my forward velocity is. If I were to drop something, I know from experience that it would fall on a straight line relative to me. That is, if it falls from my hand, it will land at my feet, just as if we were all at rest. But we are not at rest. If the half second or so it takes for an object to fall, the airplane has moved forward 111 meters relative to the ground. Yet, the hypothetical object I drop does not land 300 feet behind me. It moves forward with me as it falls, even though I am not touching it. It keeps its initial forward velocity, even though it is no longer in contact with me or anything connected to the airplane. At this point, you might think that the object is still in contact with the air inside the plane, which is moving with the plane, and conjecture that maybe it is the air inside the plane that pushes forward on the object as it falls and keeps it from moving backwards. This is not necessarily a dumb idea, but a moment's reflection will convince you that it is impossible. We are all familiar with the way air pushes on things moving through it, and we know that the force an object experiences depends on its mass and its shape. So if that was what was happening, dropping objects of different masses and shapes, I would see them falling in all kind of different ways, as I would, in fact, if I were dropping things from rest outdoors in a strong wind, but that is not what we experience on an airplane at all. The air, in fact, has no effect on the forward motion of the falling object. It does not push it in any way because it is moving at the same velocity. This, in fact, reinforces our previous conclusion. The object keeps its forward velocity while it is falling, in the absence of any external influence. This remarkable observation is one of the most fundamental principles of physics. Yes, we have started to learn physics now, which we call the law of inertia. It can be stated as follows. In the absence of any external influence or force acting on it, an object at rest will stay at rest, while an object that is already moving with some velocity will keep that same velocity, speed and direction of motion, at least until it is, in fact, acted upon by some force. Please, let that sink in for a moment before we start backtracking. We have to do now on several accounts. First, I have used repeatedly the term force, but I have not defined it properly. Or have I? What if I just said that forces are precisely any external influences that may cause a change in the velocity of an object? That will work, I think. until it is time to explore the concept in more detail a few chapters from now. Damn. Next, I need to draw your attention to the fact that the object I hypothetically dropped did not actually keep its total initial velocity. It only kept its initial forward velocity. In the downward direction, it was speeding up from the moment it left my hand, as would any other falling object, and as we shall see later in this chapter. So I'm trying to picture myself right now, even running and letting something go out of my hand, or moving on a bike, sitting on a bike, because I've done that and let stuff go out of my hand. I would love to do experiments for this to see how precise he is with saying this. Hold on. Okay, but this actually makes sense in a certain way. So that someone says, but this actually makes sense in a certain way. There was no forward force, so the forward velocity remained constant. There was, however, a vertical force acting all along, the force of gravity. Oh boy. And so the object did speed up in that direction. This observation is, in fact, telling us something profound about the world's geometry, namely, that forces and velocities are vectors. You know, a vector is the same symbol that sergeants have on their sleeve. You know, it's a triangle. I mean, not a triangle. A vector is the shape. It's a V. That's a vector. Or an A, but without that line in the center. Okay, where am I? Velocities are vectors, and laws such as the law of inertia will typically apply to the vector as a whole, as well as to each component separately, that is to say, each dimension of space. This anticipates, in fact, the way we will deal later on with motion in two or more dimensions, but we do not need to worry about that for a few chapters still. Finally, it is worth spending a moment reflecting on how radically the law of inertia seems to contradict our intuition about the way the world works. What it seems to be telling us is that if we throw or push an object, it should continue to move forever with the same speed and in the same direction with which it is set out. Something that we know is certainly not true. But what's happening in real life is that just because we have left something alone, it doesn't mean the world has left it alone. After we lose contact with the object, all sorts of other forces will continue to act on it. A ball we throw, for instance, will experience air resistance or drag, the same effect I was worrying about in that paragraph in parentheses in the previous page, and that will slow it down. An object sliding on a surface will experience friction, and that will slow it down too. Perhaps the closest thing to the law of inertia in action that you may get to see is a hockey puck sliding on ice. So you have to increase the velocity. It is remarkable, perhaps even a bit frightening, to see how little it slows down. But even so, the ice does exert a very small frictional force that would bring the puck to a stop eventually. This is why historically, the law of inertia was not discovered until people started developing an appreciation for frictional forces and the way they are constantly acting all around us to oppose the relative motion of any objects trying to slide past one another. This mention of relative motion in a way brings us full circle. Yes, relative motion is certainly detectable, and for objects in contact, it actually results in the occurrence of forces of the frictional or drag variety. But absolute this is without reference to any external motion with constant velocity and fundamentally undetectable. And in view of the law of inertia, it makes sense. If no force is required to keep the moving with constant velocity, it follows that as long as I am moving with constant velocity, I should not be feeling any net force acting on me, nor would any other detection apparatus I might be carrying with me. What do we feel in our bodies, and what we can detect with our inertial navigation system? Now you may start to guess why they are called inertial. Is a change in our velocity, which is to say our acceleration, to be defined properly in a moment. We rely ultimately on the law of inertia to detect accelerations. If my plane is shaking up and down because of turbulence, as in fact it is right now, the water in my cup may not stay put, or rather the water may try to stay put, really to keep moving at any moment with whatever velocity it has at the moment. But if the cup, which is connected to my hand, which is connected ultimately to the bouncy plane, moves suddenly out from under it, not all of the water's parts will be able to adjust their velocities to the new velocity of the cup in time to prevent a spill. This is the next very interesting fact about the physical world that we are about to discover. Forces cause accelerations or changes in velocity, but they do so in different degrees for different objects, and moreover, the ultimate change in velocity takes time. The first part of this statement has to do with the concept of inertial mass, to be introduced in the next chapter. The second part we are going to explore right now after a brief detour to define inertial reference frames. Inertial reference frames. The example I just gave you of what happens when a plane in flight experiences turbulence points to an important phenomenon, namely, that there may be times where the law of inertia may not seem to apply in a certain reference frame. But this I mean that an object that I left at rest, like the water in my cup, may suddenly start to move relative to the reference frame coordinates, even though nothing and nobody is acting on it. More dramatically still, if a car comes to a sudden stop, the passengers may be projected forward. They were initially at rest relative to the car frame, but now they find themselves moving forward, always in the car reference frame, to the point that if they are not wearing seat belts, they may end up hitting the dashboard or the seat in front of them. Again, nobody has pushed on them, and in fact, what we can see in this case from outside the car is nothing but the law of inertia at work. The passengers were just keeping their initial velocity. When the car suddenly slowed down under and around them, so there is nothing wrong with the law of inertia, but there is a problem with the reference frame. If I want to describe the motion of objects in a reference frame, like a plane being shaken upon or a car that is speeding up or slowing down, I need to allow for the fact that objects may move, always relative to that frame, in an apparent violation of the law of inertia. The way we deal with this in physics is by introducing the very important concept of an inertial reference frame, by which we mean a reference frame in which all objects will, at all times, be observed to move or not to move in a way fully consistent with the law of inertia. In other words, the law of inertia has to hold when we use that frame's own coordinates to calculate the object's velocities. This, of course, is what we always do instinctively. When I am on a plane, I locate the various objects around me relative to the plane frame itself, not relative to the distinct ground. To assertion whether a frame is internal or not, we start by checking to see if the description of motion using that frame's coordinates obeys the law of inertia. Does an object left at rest on the counter in the laboratory stay at rest? If set in motion, does it move with constant velocity on a straight line? The Earth's surface, as it turns out, is not quite a perfect inertial reference frame, but it is good enough that it made it possible for us to discover the law of inertia in the first place. Yeah, the Earth's ground wouldn't be good to use if it was actually fucking spinning. But considering it's stationary, it's perfect to use. What spoils the inertialness of an Earth-bound reference frame is the Earth's rotation. Damn, that's crazy, huh? I didn't even look down yet to see that. I was thinking that while I was reading that. So, alright. What spoils the inertialness of an earthbound reference frame is the Earth's rotation, which, as we shall see later, is an example of accelerated motion. In fact, if you think about the grossly non-inertial frames I have introduced above, the bouncy plane, the braking car, they all have this in common, that their velocities are changing. They're being manipulated. They are not moving with constant speed on a straight line. So once you have found an inertial reference frame, to decide whether another one is inertial or not is simple. If it is moving with constant velocity relative to the first inertial frame, then it is itself inertial. If not, it is not. I will show you how this works in section 2.2, whatever. It is a fundamental principle of physics that the law of physics takes the same form in all inertial reference frames. The law of inertia is, of course, an example of such a law. Since all inertial frames are moving with constant velocity relative to each other, this is another way to say that absolute motion is undetectable, and all motion is ultimately relative. Accordingly, this principle is known as the principle of reality. Sorry, as the principle of relativity. I don't know where I got reality from. But yeah, that was I guess, right? I don't want to look at Newton's law of motion. Nope. No, no, no. Newton's law of motion got him hit in the head with an apple, and then he thought he created gravity. Like, what a fucking ding dong. I'm gonna peek. Sorry, I had to run to the bathroom. I'm gonna peek in this Newton's law of motion, just because I'm curious to see. And it's by NASA too at that. It says Newton's law of motion. Sir Isaac Newton's law of motion explained the relationship between a physical object and the forces acting upon it. Understanding this information provides us with the basis of modern physics. So, what do you guys think about physics? Do you think a lot of it's based on theories like gravity? They took buoyancy and density, or basically, even in alchemy, they know, gases rise and heavy objects collect at the bottom. It's sort of like the mixing, like, I forgot what they put in that jar. Let me see if I can find that picture. Shit. The heck? Yeah, I forgot what else they had. There was like water, oil. They put a screw in there. I think it was like, did they use Jello? I don't remember. It was at the bottom. Let me see what they got. I forgot what that shit's called, man. How they separate all the different consistencies. Oh shit. Let me see if I can get this. See. Damn it. Substances separated in a container. Viscosity. Is that what it's called? I don't know why it's so hard to find this stupid picture. Here it is. About time. Man, it took forever for me to find this. Doo doo doo. The fuck? Trying to. Alright. Here we go. This was the picture I was talking about. That's how it works up in the air to the ground. The earth would be at the bottom, and then it would separate all the way to the lightest which is what, helium? No, maybe something like a helium or a fucking whatever the you can fucking come up with, dude. JG's in the house.
Die. What's this picture about?
It's a picture of the density in liquids. Well, this sucks. Jesus. What the hell? Mama, shit's frozen?
Oh, yeah.
Alright, here we go. It's so funny, man, that these people said the flat earth is like a pancake in outer space. Like, no so-called real flat earthers ever said that, but what was that, the Flat Earth Society trash? And they were like, they took a pancake and threw it in outer space and said, that's the flat earth. And there's gravity because the pancake is continuously rising. Like, that's the dumbest shit. It's because of people like this that give that top image kind of like ruined, or nah, not really, but I don't want to say ruined, but it definitely steered people in a different direction. Because when you look up flat earth, that's all you get is a bunch of poop. What are you doing? Building a pyramid? You guys finished that fence?
Yeah, I just had to tighten up the barbed wire on the whole
I never put
property.
barbed wire up. How do you do that? Is there like a certain tool you use to fucking? I seen a video where they're doing barbed wire and it don't look simple.
That's pretty easy. Like if you're going to the end of a pole, right, you'll have your clip in there. You just gotta you gotta get the wire tight. Then you tighten the bolt into the clamp. It's easy shit, man. I don't even like talking about work. I just fucking do it. I just get shit done. I'm not a good talker when it comes to this shit.
Get her done. I wonder whatever happened to that dude, man. Like, get her done. That dude was funny. Boy,
It's pretty easy.
there's
It's pretty fucking easy to tighten up barbed wire. I mean, it's not hard at all. It's not that sketchy.
I kind of didn't mean hard, but I meant like you could fuck your hands up. You know, like if you didn't have a certain tool to like twist it or whatever the guy was doing. Um,
Yeah, you got to have the right tools.
I don't know how it is digging where you are, but if you were to dig holes for posts in Connecticut, it's a disaster, man. You're always hitting stones and rocks, and it's just always bad. You know, you're liable to hit stones sometimes the size of a playground. And that's another thing. If all that mud flew down here, what are all these rocks and stones? Could they be like parts of buildings? I don't know.
It's just nature, man. If you're digging a hole, you got to have a digging bar. That'll save you much time and energy, man. Got to have a digging bar. Some people use augers. I don't really like augers because I can do it quicker and safer with a fucking post digger and a digging bar. To each his own. Augers are fucking crazy using those things. It's like playing Russian roulette.
True.
Because you're using an auger, you're going into the ground. If it jams up, it'll throw you off. Like I've seen it fuck people up, man. It almost fucked me up a couple times, but yeah, I'd fuck that shit. Nature wins.
This reminds me of a Tesla coil, or it reminds me of the burners on the stove, or it reminds me of a dartboard, or it reminds me of a shut the fuck up. That's what it reminds me of.
Wake the fuck up or get woke the fuck up.
There we go. Now that looks dope.
Check this out. Why has he got his light on? Union Pacific guy driving by, he's like, I look up, he's staring me down, he waves. Guarantee you he knows me.
Guarantee he's about to set you up.
Is he hopping a train this weekend? Who knows?
Hey, you might say, you want to drive it? Nah, there's cameras in there.
和包子一起
在
唱。
爱的回线，有期待，天会晴。
See, that part right there is what sounds a little suspect, but it might be for real, man. I just never met anyone that could teach their cat to sing. Or maybe the cat caught on, but it's kind of remarkable. So that means maybe dares and fucking grizzly bears can learn English. That should be crazy if a dare came up to you and said, yo, why you shot my mother? You've been killing us for a long time and eating us. You guys are cannibals. That's what the dare would say. And the dare would teach their young that humankinds are cannibals. Mike Tyson even said America's the only country that feeds off the children. They're the parasites. They'll leech onto the children, especially in the entertainment industry, and use them, squeeze them for all they can get, and then throw you to the wolves. I mean, unless you want to play baseball and get paid to do what you're told and follow a script, you can't even play for real to win a World Series. You gotta like script it. Like, who the fuck? I'm trying to think what profession makes $10 to $15 million a year besides sports. I don't even think doctors, a physicist, who makes 10 million a year? Oh, NASA employees. Biden just signed a bill for NASA, 24.7, I think it was $billion. Yeah. And I said, what better numbers to use? The 2, the 4, and the 7. I said, because they're royally fucking us 24/7. That was like a sign. 24.7 billion? Or it was million. But either way, it's a lot of money. Paying for CGI garbage and fantasies and theories. Fantasies and theories is what created outer space. Now, real outer space would be out of our space. That's outer space. But their fantasy of fucking their dog Pluto and the Jetsons and all that, or going to Mars and all that stupid shit. Maybe Mars is a land out in outer space, out of our space. You know, Mars could be some land out of our space. Now, not in the fantasy land of outer space, where you go to some red ball in the sky. But you can fly in the sky to an outer land and go to Mars. Yeah, I don't even really like I'd rather keep it to where I only have 10 max to people who truly want to come here and chill or, you know, talk about real shit and not, you know, it's mind blowing how you can't even speak real shit. You can sense, like Divergent said, I like centering myself. You know, he was being sarcastic. YouTube is a good platform. You know, I like the way it's set up. I've been here a long time, and you know, we're supposed to be a country where we're free to speak on whatever we want. Um, and yet it's so hypocritical. The people that are against what you speak try to censor you. Gas powered augers. Augers are used to dig an auger. That's used to dig a ditch hole, right? An auger? Or is it for trenches? I remember I used this machine that it was like not a tiller, but it was ripping the ground up. And that bitch was pulling me everywhere. It was strong. I used to love when my boss would rent a machine because I knew at some point I'd be using it, especially a backhoe where I get to fucking chill, dig dirt, and I'm not breaking my back. I don't want to like have to have call it a job to entertain people. Like I don't think I'm an entertainer, even though to some, to them it's entertainment. So this is for entertainment purposes, always, but it's also a place to say whatever the fuck you want. Let's see what I got in the arsenal, man. Peace, Yolanda. I didn't realize Italy was that close to Africa. Ah, shit. Look at this shit. That's stupid. Damn it. To see this picture, I gotta, interesting. Electromagnetic waves of the body and their polarity, also currents from each lobe of the brain. The caduceus as the dual wireless brain energy waves operating in the body in the etheric matter as two polarized currents around a neutral core of supersonic energy, giving a vibratory impulse to every cell in conjunction with the cosmic energy current latent in the oxygen. Mind energy waves do not need wires for conduction of its alternating impulses. Mind substance itself is a perfect continuous media plus ether. Concentration of mind energy is the directing power of its substance. It acts by preponderance of impulse, impact, or mental weight. The polarity of the current changes at the wrist making, okay, the polarity of the current changes at the wrist making an almost universal joint movement possible. The current also reverses its polarity at the ankles, where it changes direction in front and at the heel in the back. The electromagnetic currents flow the body outline and extend no more than 1/2 inch beyond the skin, forming an electromagnetic enveloping projection around the body. The soles of the feet, when bent upward, fall in line with the anterior currents, and the top of the feet with the posterior currents the same as the hands, showing the palms of the hands relating to the anterior sensory part of the body. It gives the correct position of thumbs in relation to central area of entire body. Each half of the body is divided into 5 longitudinal areas by 5 energy currents sweeping through from the top of the head and fingers to the tips of the toes, opposite in direction of flow and in polarity on each side and on anterior and posterior part of the body. It's an interesting poster here. The left foot leads in marching. The anterior upward sweep lifts the foot. Every joint is a neuter point. Yeah, neuter point. Neuter point. I don't know. Neuter point. Currents cross over at the ankle joint and at the wrist, changing polarity. These straight lines are an extension of the brain waves, seen as tensions with gravity. No, shut up with that. Electromagnetic waves flowing in the brain area as energy currents in the positive pole, then through the body structures as muscular tone and patterns of motion in the wireless field. Wireless energy therapy chart of the 5-pointed star. The geometric lines of force of this star are important contact points for the release of energy blocks, and they're shown on your back from what bone is that? Your hip bone or your pelvis bone? From there up to your lower part of the back of your spine, or Jacob's ladder would, a little lower probably, but yeah, the tip of Jacob's ladder would be the tip of the 5-pointed star. It would go up and then down to your pelvis bone, up to your left shoulder blade, over to your right shoulder blade, back down to the pelvis. And in the front, you get the same thing. Called contact points at the intersection of lines of the force and on the foundation. It's called the tip of the 5-pointed star. They're calling it the foramen magnum. And then at the bottom, it's called the sacral articulation relationship. Then it says gravity balance to foramen magnum. But Figure 1 represents the anterior sensory angles of force. I thought it said angels. There's sensory. You could use angles. The anterior sensory angles of force and their interrelationship. The top of the star at the throat center is the source of the current in the etheric field and the audible sound energy in the same pelvis basin. At the bottom is the sum total force accumulation of all the sensory tension and emotional frustration. The two lowest points of the star rest on the pelvis basin as a whole. Here, the individual vital force, the electromagnetic currents, and the gravity pull of the earth all interact. Nature has placed the centers and the outlets for the vital and emotional sensories in the pelvis. These can also be released through inhibition. I don't know. Yeah, inhibition over the attachments of the abdominal muscle to the pubic bone. Man, I can't read this. This is the PSOAS, the Sutton Magnus. It's like a bone. The post. I don't know. It looks like the Passos Magnus, whatever, and iliacus muscle are also very important factors in the gravity pull. Really. Electromagnetic action, upright position of the body, and anterior posterior relationship of each half of the body. The polarity currents in the short leg also have a major factor here in front. Deep inhibition reaches them. Perineal technique is very effective in pregnancy, where pelvis stress and strain causes much leg pain. It says release to the throat center, the shoulders, also the occipital. Yeah, occipital and cervical region can be accomplished here by inhibition and directional impulse at the basic line of force as the anterior foundation for all superior structures. Figure 2 gives a clear-cut picture of the relation of the two hip joints as the foundation to the the five-pointed star in the human body as nature's geometric keyboard of lines of force and their reflexes. It's got some crazy information on here. Anterior tension is mostly functional and sensory reflex action from the viscera, plus emotional disturbance from pelvic organs. Posterior tension is usually caused by resistance or blocks in the motor impulses, which are controlled by sensory impulses. Soft tissue work is done with definite directions of lines of force carried through the blockade by a steady pressure or stimuli from any pole. The impact of the directed force acts upon the molecules and atoms in the wireless circuit. It does not have to be an adjustment. Superior positive pole of the diaphragm and respiratory reflexes. Shoulder. Damn, first rib. Neuritis, sigmoid reflex. These names they come up with, man, for body parts. The gallbladder reflex, the left kidney reflex, the liver reflex, the sigmoid reflex, the ovarian reflexes over the breasts, the pole of respiration, the colon. I can't read that word. The thyroid reflex, the ovary to the left shoulder, to the stomach, the umbilicus, the fire of digestion. That must be the poop chute. Reflex to liver. And it's got ovary. Oh yeah, ovaries would be okay. That makes sense on each side. Yeah, because I think if you flip a 5-pointed star upside down, or is it the woman's reproductive system is cross, right? Or an upside down cross. Anyway. Arrows on lines alongside of them indicate the directional force in the contact. This is accomplished by the lineup of the fingers, the forearm, and the humerus in the exact angle of the impact of energy, and held long enough to create a molecular push in the current flow. All lines which cross over from one side to the other belong to the bipolar brain reflex chain of the caduceus. Soreness and tension over any organ is a protective measure of the deeper tissue, and extension of the soreness and stagnation to the surface area release energy blocks by directional contact in the line of force. Then it says energy impulses flow downward. The return currents are the reflex impulses flowing upward. These may cross over at neuter points. That word always gets me. These may cross over at neuter points, which means neutral. Neuter points and electromagnetic lines of force. And as gravity impulses, current resistance anywhere becomes reflex pain. Then it ends with, it says the sigmoid valve as a heart reflex. Treat toward inferior and posterior position against the current. Release heart spasms. This arrow for directional contact is pointing downward over the sigmoid, which is invariably high in its position. all the areas and organs which the line of force pass over in their ascending flow have their representative reflexes above the diaphragm in exactly the same order as they were passed. So the ovaries and pelvic organs have their reflex in the breasts on the opposite polarity side. Other organs follow in line and can be traced. By the same token, the diaphragm has a definite reflex below due parts ligament on the muscles of the thighs on each side. This is a valuable reflex to release in spasms of the diaphragm. All tension seems to accumulate in the neck because it is the main etheric neutral field and the sum total of the return flow of all the energy from below upward toward the head. Tension causes are mostly reflexes which must be found and released. Light pressure soothes and relaxes. Heavy pressure stimulates and releases stronger resistance in the current. That which is above is reflected in the area below, and that which is below has a representation above in its government. The five-pointed star. I like this concept. And this is what I was reading that whole time from this page. It's hard to see, but it was talking about each toe, each hand, or each fingertip and finger, and where the energy flows, like pressure points. Um, hmm. Anyway, I'm gonna end it here, I guess. It was really a bigger picture, but this is what they gave me when I downloaded it, as you could see. Maybe y'all could zoom in with your phone, but yeah. This was the original thing I downloaded, but you gotta be able to zoom in. Much respect to Kimba. She does a lot of what she talks about. And experience creates wisdom. But if y'all could zoom into this, I thought the 5-pointed star, you line it up in the front of your body, because you are the 5-pointed star, and the back.
Mic check.
Yeah, we could kind of hear you. Oh, maybe that was my headphones. If you're trying to speak, faceplant, we can't hear nothing. Alright, fuck it. I'm gonna end it here. Peace to everyone in the chat. Appreciate y'all coming through. Hope everyone has a good day. And whoever watches this, let me know what you think about the inertial plane. And their theories. Like, physics to me is based around theories, fantasies, and imagination sometimes. I'm not saying all of it, but some of it. It's like they create, like, the Big Bang. Like, that was created in people's imagination. They probably, like, it probably blew something up, right? And they said, oh, that's how life started. And another thing that's mind blowing too, that I've always thought was magical to me, is when you look at the blood in your arm, it's blue. And then when it hits oxygen, it turns red. It's Crazy, man. That to me is magical. Our blood is magical. That shit changes color when it leaves the body. Maybe the hydrogen in the body keeps it blue. And when it hits oxygen and carbon, it turns red. Is Phil real? Probably not. I'll send you that link, Kimball, to yesterday's live stream. I put it private because I gotta look over it and see. I think a few things were said that, well, I might just let it go and just put it out. Fuck it, man. If something happens, something happens. Damn, Phil's been gone. How long? 6 months? He smoked his boots. He might be gone for a year. That's what I'm thinking. Too bad I don't know Phil's real name. Can't look him up. Phil Nye, the science guy. Why do these people send the shit in the mail? Let's see. Santander. This is $300. Reward yourself with an extra $300 with Simply Right Checking. Like, where are all these places coming out with checking and is Phil real? That's what we all want to know. Let's see what it says here in little writing. Curious to see. It says get $300 when you open a new Simply Right Checking Santander Select Checking or Santander Private Client Checking. All $25 minimum opening deposits. Account by 6/30/24 and have direct deposits totaling $500 or more post to this account within the first 90 days. The 90-day period beginning the day of the account opening, unless the account is opened on a weekend or holiday. Offer is only available to residents of New Hampshire, Mass, Rhode Island, Connecticut, blah, blah, blah. Delaware, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and in select areas of Florida, Miami-Dade, Monroe, Broward counties, and Collier County. Anyway, wow. Santander Select Checking is 0.01%. And Santander Private Client Checking is 0.03%. So it's not even a full percent. It's a 0.03%. Anyway, fuck that shit. I'm out, everyone. Have a good day, man. Peace. Peace of the gods. Goddesses, kings, queens, paupers, bums, whatever label people want to use.